Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another How I Shot It. This week, I interviewed Tiffany and Ryland. Hey Tiffany and Ryland, I am so stoked to have you guys on the show.
Hey Trevor, we're so excited to be here.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I always tell people I get a kind of a pre what's the word? I get like to sneak peek of what the images that we're going to talk about. And I am so stoked because you guys not only have some incredible photos, but you're actually providing some really cool behind the scenes images for everybody. So this is going to be a really cool episode and I'm excited for everyone to see it.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's tell everyone where to find you guys before. So your website is just tiffanyandryland.com, right? And then on Instagram, it's Tiffany and Ryland. We'll put a little logo that will pop up so everyone can find you guys. And we'll put their information in the caption. So make sure you guys, if you're watching this, go check out more on Tiffany and Ryland's work on their website and on the Instagram. Go follow them. They're incredible photographers. So one of these images that took off a couple months ago was a photo you guys did. Maybe it was just a couple weeks ago. It was the one where you did in the snow with the MagBox. Can you guys tell us a little bit about this photograph?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that was cool, obviously, you know, we don't get snow often in Arizona. So
no, we don't.
The couple really wanted an awesome snow session. And it was like, gosh, how cold was it?
Cold.
It was really cold, like in the 20s, right?
You know what? Hey, Ryland, I got to say something. You know what, though? In Arizona, we say really cold, like in the 20s. And everywhere else, everybody's like, that's like a high.
That's true. So we thought the couple was pretty brave, obviously, us being out there photographing them. But, you know, it got cold, right? So it got to a point where we always love to do, like, night shots. But definitely not going to stay around for nighttime with it being in the 20s, of course. So we really wanted to be able to darken it down and have that night feel and really pop off the colors and that backlighting of the snow. So we actually...
One of the things that made it really cool that we had just gotten our MagBox, and so we had the ring, and we were able to double up on the 8200. So we had two 8200s in the front, two in the back, and we were able to really light it up. That way we could darken it down and give it that evening feel.
So you actually had four 8200s on that shot.
Yeah,
we did.
Wow, you were blasting them with power then. That's amazing. And you guys, another thing, you guys use pro photo gear as well in a lot of your shots, right? Like the A1, the B10, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. So I love that you guys kind of get, you know, you've got to experience both. But in this situation, so let's show everyone this kind of behind the scenes to show you how daylight it was. Do you remember how soon before sunset this was? Was this like 10 minutes, an hour?
We had left probably a good hour and a half before sunset.
Wow.
Because we knew that it was just going to get colder. Yep. And I didn't want to stay for that. They didn't want to stay for that. And you could see from the snow that's coming down on the gear that we actually ended up being in it pretty heavily. So we wanted to kind of get in and get out as fast as we could for them.
And the cool thing was you didn't even have to use high-speed sync. You just brought your ISO way down, brought your f-stop up a little bit. And so you used the MagBox in front. And tell us, you'd said that you used the blue gel behind and you did that to kind of get that kind of that coldness. Is that what it was?
Absolutely. Just that coldness feel behind it, and thought it would look awesome backlighting the snow and showing how awesome it was to get a shot like that in Arizona, of course.
And they love it too. We love being able to show them the back of the camera right away and have them go like, wait, what? How did you create that?
Yep. I always say, you know what, if you can show people like that you're like a wizard on the shoot, it turns into referrals immediately. Like people love getting photographs. You know, they love seeing the photographs when you deliver them a week later, a month later, whatever it is. Like that's one thing. And the funny thing is nowadays everyone thinks, oh, they just, you know, they did some fancy editing or whatever. But the moment you can show them, you can turn the camera around and actually show them what it looks like and the magic that you created with your camera and the, you know, 8 inches, the 8 inches behind the camera, you know, your head basically, and the way you visualized and created it. It's like, that's when you become a wizard. It's not, otherwise you deliver it a week later and they're like, oh, they did some really cool Photoshop or something, you know, and they don't understand that you guys are just masters of lighting. So that's awesome.
What was cool about that shot too is we're like, hey guys, you think you're in for one last shot, like photographers' famous last words, right? It was one more shot, guys. And this was that last shot for them to be able to get that night feel and really backlight and showcase the snow and the storm we were in.
And then we had the added benefit of being able to turn off the front light. That way we could do a silhouette for it. So it's kind of the same feel, but kind of different, and they love both of them.
I love it. Absolutely. That's always important to do. Just kind of give them two different looks. Incredible shot. So now you guys, like I said, you guys are incredible at using gels and color and stuff like that. And I've loved watching your work. There's another photograph that you guys did where you have like red and white. And tell me kind of what you were thinking about this photograph as you set this up.
So our couple is very patriotic. For their engagement session, they brought an American flag blanket. They wanted to wrap themselves up in it. It was awesome. It was part of who they were. And we remembered that from their engagement session without telling them that we were setting this up. We set it up so it would be a red, white, and blue, her being obviously the white. And they just loved it. It was something that was so personal for them and pretty easy for us to create. And I mean, we had to think a little outside the box, but it was worth it.
And one of the things I was going to say that we love doing is we always say, let our couples know, hey, we want to take you out for a few quick night shots. That's going to involve us stepping away, taking just a minute to set up some lights, and pulling you guys out and getting you right back to the party without missing a beat. So that was just this, right? Setting up lights, taking a few minutes, bringing them out, bringing them right back to their party, being able to get something like this for them.
I love it. So you used 4 flashes on this shot?
We did, yeah. So the front one was mag sphere and grid, plus half CTO. And then we had you can see if you look closely, a rim light on them. So the half CTO and grid facing them. And then we had, of course, mag blue gel and a mag blue red gel on the other side behind the bride, angled up towards those bushes.
Tell us where your the rim was behind. Was that on a stand behind her? Was it on the ground? Where was that? It was on the
ground, angled up towards maybe close to shoulder level.
Okay, kind of back in those bushes a little bit.
Yep.
I love it, and I love the one thing I mentioned to you before was I love how you use the red, you use the blue. But you got this great line on it. And did you say you used a grid on your gels as well?
On the back gels, we didn't. No, we just kind of separated the flashes, angled out one way, angled out the other way to try to stop from, having a little bit of a separation between the two colors.
Yeah.
And these were flashes, so we were kind of able to control the light a little bit more. It wasn't the strobe, so it wasn't blasting as much power. So that also helped.
That's awesome. I love how you said that you have the red, the blue, and the white being her dress. That's phenomenal. This is one of those shots that I could see them, turning into a big piece of artwork or something, kind of like their signature shot or like the last shot on their wedding album or, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I just want to keep looking at it. That's awesome, you guys. So let's actually talk a little bit more about some of these shots. There's one that I've seen you guys do, the composite. And these composites are really popular in our community right now, in the MagMod community on Facebook. It's where people basically, they have a group and they go around and they kind of light each person individually. You guys have this fantastic one that I love. It's, it looks like these groomsmen, which is, they're like in this perfect, almost looks like they're bodyguards to the groom. It's awesome. Yeah. Tell me about the shot, how you guys kind of lit it, how you kind of pre-visualized it, what inspired it, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So we purposefully did not want to color correct for this one. We liked the fact that it was that super warm. It had the fireplace behind them. Yeah. We like that orange glow in there. So we purposefully did not color correct for that one. Did we use gels for this one?
We did not.
I don't think so. But it gives it kind of that cool gel look that we normally love.
Yeah.
And it was a matter of just a couple minutes where we knew that this was what we had in mind and had all the guys sit in perfect position. Don't move, don't breathe. We're going to do 7 shots, boom, 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 boom. And then kind of showed them a little bit. This is what it's going to look like. But then the groom could not wait during the reveal party. He was like, where's my groomsman shot? Where's my groomsman shot? Okay, lots of bride and groom shots, but where's my groomsman shot? So
that's awesome
to have it and immediately put it up on his Facebook.
What's really cool is we were actually doing detail shots in that room earlier. One everybody's getting ready. And we just thought, man, this would be a really cool place to take the groomsmen out in front of the fire and do a really cool composite shot.
Make them look tough.
Yep. And with the girls running behind, of course, on wedding day, it gave us a chance to be able to pull the guys out there and be able to do something cool like this real quick.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. In fact, let's talk about some of those detail shots that you guys had set up in there. You have this shot of the shoes, for example. What was that shot with a MagMod modifier as well?
Yeah. So that one is just a simple grid. We had the light up. I think we had an assistant that was just kind of holding the light up off to the side for us. And I love that moody kind of look. You know, we do a lot of the lighter natural light look, but I just loved this room offered this moody kind of feel to it. And we wanted to really eat that up and use as many different details, shots that we could do in there. We did the rings in there. We did her dress in there. It just kind of gave it a really cool feel, something different.
And really quick to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So you're doing the details. You got inspired by the room, the setting, said, let's do this composite. And then you nailed this incredible composite shot of these groomsmen and everything. I love it. So, and Ryland, I love this behind the scenes, how we can kind of see you as you moved around. Did you guys actually use a tripod, or did you just kind of stabilize yourself and did it kind of holding?
So there was, we didn't have a tripod with us, but they had these little tables that in that room that I stacked on top of each other. And I'm like, all right, holding it on this table and don't move. And I was able to use with the Mark IV, the touch screen. So I was able to keep the camera stable, but use the touchscreen to refocus. And
on each individual groom.
Yeah.
Awesome. So not only is it a composite, but you kind of did like a focus stack of sorts to make sure that each person was individually focused. Love it. Phenomenal job, you guys. I absolutely love that shot. These, man, I'll tell you, every time I do these how I shot it, I get to learn so much. And I know that those watching are also just kind of like, you know, wow, that's a great idea. I like, for example, I've done composites in the past, and I've never thought about individually focusing on each person with the touchscreen. That's genius. You guys are awesome. So guys, let's wrap this up with one more shot here. This is a shot that you did at the Phoenix Art Museum, which is an incredible place to shoot, but it's also extremely difficult. And I know that because I've shot weddings there myself. And this photograph is absolutely beautiful. Tell us about your setup and what you're kind of visualizing here.
Sure. Well, it's a perfect couple too, because they're artists themselves in many different ways, musically, lyrically. And one of the things they said when they first met with us and why they chose the art museum is they wanted really pictures of showcasing the artwork of them in front of it. So we knew that we had to create something really epic for them. And what's neat is we hadn't actually seen any of these exhibits they specifically chose beforehand. So when we got up there, we had a few minutes to be able to create something quick, jaw-dropping, epic, and having that wow factor. Yeah. Each little place that they chose. And this is one of the places that we really were excited to be able to shoot with was the Driftwood. It
was super important to them. They even did their family, their big group family shots in front of it because they loved the Driftwood so much. Wow. So we wanted to do something with that, a couple minutes that we had with just the two of them. We did a couple of different lighting setups, and we're like, you know what, let's throw a colored gel on the back of this, and asked her what color she wanted, and she picked the rose color. And threw a gel on the back of it. There's actually, with that exhibit, there's this little opening in the wall off the side, so we were able to backlight the entire exhibit itself and them with this pink light, and we were able to give it a cool look, and then, in post, kind of cover up that wall. Together.
Yeah, it's funny because this reminds me, we did a How I Shot It with Marlise Hartman, and in that How I Shot It video, Marlise had shown how she took a kind of what am I trying to say, like a wall on one side of the room, and they kind of did the same thing on the other side to make it very symmetrical, and it was genius. And I loved how she showed how she did that. This kind of reminded me of that situation where you guys, because I've shot in this same place, And it's not easy because you have the symmetry, but then like you said, you have that break in the wall. Yep. And what I love about here is it looks like you would use two gels, like you had done one here and one there. But in reality, I think you just did one kind of backlighting. You can see the rim light on him. And then you had it go and cast that pattern. It almost looks like a mag beam pattern, but it was just because it went through the driftwood, right? And then you basically kind of just said, take that wall, put it over here, which is not easy in Photoshop. It's not, I mean, it definitely requires some skill to do that. But I love that idea. And I love how I imagine when you guys shot this, you probably were pre-visualizing already, like, okay, this is maybe what we can do with this. We can just cast one pattern over here, and then we can just kind of, or maybe it was a lucky hair. I don't know, but I'm amazed by it because I've shot there many times and I've never thought about doing something so genius. So.
Yeah, it's a really cool place to shoot. There are so many different things that you can do with it, and I imagine that next time we shoot there, we're going to try and create something something new. So I'd love to see actually what you created too. You'll have to share that with us later.
Oh, now I'm embarrassed. I don't want to compete with you guys. So I do want to ask then, you used the rose color gel behind. Did you modify that at all? It looks like it was just the gel on the flash.
No, yeah. So it was just the gel behind them, camera right. And then we had a mag sphere and grid camera right in front to light them up.
Love it. Is there a specific reason you like to use the mag sphere and grid together?
Definitely. Best combination ever. Of course, now we have the mag box, so we like to be able to incorporate that quite a bit too with the focus diffuser.
Love the focus diffuser.
One of our favorite new modifiers. But it just really controls the light spill and still softens the light a little bit as it goes on the couple. So.
Yeah, it's funny because the very first time I ever heard anyone using the mag sphere mag grid together, I was like, wait, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I think everybody, the first time they hear it, because, the mag sphere being omnidirectional, the mag grid being something that controls your light spill, it seems like they would not work, almost like salt and pepper sort of thing. Or I don't know, whatever. That's probably a bad example. But I love when you do combine them together. It's funny because you get this beautiful control of light, but then you get this nice fall off on the edges, and it just works so nicely. I kind of compare it to like a spotlight, but with like a really nice soft transition from light to shadow. So
absolutely. That's our go-to for so many things.
Yeah.
Like, I think the sparkler exit, right? Being able to have, the grid with a sphere and of course TO gel in there is that go-to combination for that same reason.
It was something he had to convince me of. I'm like, wait, that doesn't make sense. You're doing this, but then this, and he convinced me, and I was like, okay, I get it.
That's awesome. Like I said, guys, I'm just tickled pink. Ooh, that was nice. A little punny, but I'm tickled pink because the way you guys use color, the way you use control of light, the way I feel like you kind of pre-visualize things. There's two of you. Do you guys ever? Is it something that you kind of work together and kind of build up, or do you plan ahead of shoots and say like, oh, on this shoot we're going to do red in the trees and blue in the trees and have her in the middle? Like how do you guys plan that kind of stuff ahead of time?
So it's funny because now, I did a lot of the lighting pieces in the beginning, and then Tiffany would help me out, but she has all these great visions and she's so good at lighting as well. I'm like, I feel like we're missing out on the other visionary of what we can be able to give our client. So why don't each one of us come up with, like, if we're doing night shots, 1 to 2 creative shots of our own, and then we'll assist that other person. And we've been able to give clients so much more with each of our creative visions and helping each other out and making it really, really quick. Mm-hmm. So we kind of go into each shoot, each wedding day, knowing that each of us are going to be able to create our own vision and something unique for the couple, and then be able to help the other person out, make sure it's fast and smooth in the process. So,
and during engagement sessions, our clients laugh at us because we bounce off of each other, where we don't even have to finish our sentences. We can be like, oh, we could do this, and what about, oh yeah, and then, and it just kind of goes back and forth, and we love it. We love being able to have that other visual, somebody else with that creative mind that we can kind of bounce off each other.
That's awesome. Oh, go ahead.
Say real quick is how far we've come with MagMod.
Yes.
So how far we've come with photography by using MagMod products.
Because of it.
Let's see, it's been, I think, 3 years now that we've been using MagMod products.
2016.
I remember WPBI and talking to you there and chatting a little bit about it. I mean, we went from, never color correcting our lights during reception, seeing the orange lights or orange color cast in the back, and being able to balance out the blue temperature color coming from the flash without being able to put gels on there, to being able to understand gelling for color corrective purposes, and then start to be able to get creative purposes with different colored gels. Start to understand more about lighting and control of light and how we can be able to use that to be able to get awesome images for our clients. And that was all from starting to use MagMod products with pushing our creativity with what the tools can help us do.
That's awesome. It is fun when you start modifying your flashes, controlling light. Sometimes it's not even about where you put light, but where you subtract light. So if you subtract light in certain areas,